In part 2, I'm going to be sanding down and finishing these reclaimed bowling alley sections, as well as fabricating and fitting legs to finish off the tables. This is the after-work garage. The first step was to sand down the old finish and get to bare wood. This turned out to be a really big job. Aside from the thick layer of finish, there were some deep scratches and marks in the wood from being cut and dragged out of a bowling alley. These also needed to be sanded out. Second, the maple section seemed unusually resinous and constantly clogged up the sanding belt. This was a lot of work. The only advice I have is patience and earplugs. I'm back, and you didn't miss much. I just sanded down the rest of this part, and I took a cut-off wheel and cut off all these nails that were sticking out. I'm going to give this a quick sand. Okay, I'm okay with this. Obviously we'll go over it with another lighter, higher grit sandpaper before we do anything, but I'm going to get the rest of these sanded out tonight at least, so that maybe a little later I can go over it with finer sanding. Even after just a rough sanding with an 80 grit belt sander, you can see how beautiful this wood is. I'm really happy with how this is turning out. Actually, I'm kicking myself for not getting more of it. Not that I have room to store 100 pieces of bowling alley lane. This is the maple piece over here. This still needs a little bit of work. As you can see, those holes that we drilled out and then filled with oak, I'm actually kind of wishing I'd done it in a different color so it didn't confuse these markings. But it really looks nice. I'm happy with how that turned out. These patches that were here before, these look like patches that were done while the bowling alley was on the floor. Or while it was the floor. But I think this is going to be real pretty. Compare that to, how this looked before. These rough seams and cracks. The wood, you can still tell, is gorgeous, but it just wasn't treated very well. So I'm going to get to working on this one, and I'll get back with you. So let me show you what I did here. There were all these little screw holes, and rather than leave them open, I filled them in with a combination of sawdust from like sand or wood flour and wood glue. So again, it's not going to match, but what it's going to do is not only slightly accent the holes, but more importantly make them flush with the surface. I just got finished sanding these, and I'm going to get ready to put some clear coat on them. I'm using a wipe-on polyurethane. Not the most original top coat finish, but I think it'll make the wood look nice, and I don't want to stain these. I want the natural color of the bowling alley wood to come out. Here's how we're looking after one coat of wipe-on polyurethane. This is fast drying, so I'll give it about 2 hours, and then it says to sand it lightly and recoat. I'm pretty pleased with how that looks. It's not as heavy a finish as like a paint-on, brush-on polyurethane, and certainly not as heavy as the finish as was on there originally in the bowling alley. And I kind of like that because it leaves the warmth of the wood as opposed to completely covering it up. I actually really like these imperfections. You can see there's a nail there that was cut in half when this was cut out of the bowling alley. So I changed gears a little bit here and decided to switch from a wipe-on polyurethane to a brush-on. You can see it gives it a much glossier finish, which in some cases isn't desirable, but in this particular case I think it really makes the wood look nice, and it gives it extra protection since these are going to be coffee tables, and that's going to be a bench, so they're going to be experiencing abrasion and liquids, and a little thicker coat of polyurethane I think is going to do it a little better. Plus I think it makes it look really nice. Over here I've got the legs tacked together, at least some of them. And I'll finish welding those a little later, but I'm running out of time. I gotta hop in the truck and go to Dallas. Quick update here on the legs for the coffee tables. I welded together some 2-inch square tubing. As you can see, I did diagonal cuts so that there's not an open end. These are going to be the bottom cross members. These are going to be the top. But I just threw some primer on there because they were a little rusty. I gave them a quick sand and then wiped down to knock off the loose rust, but didn't really try too hard because this primer is supposed to be able to be applied over some amount of rust. And then I'm going to paint them black, so I'll get back to you when I'm doing that. For painting the legs, I'm going to use this hammered black metal look. It's just spray paint in a can. Hides surface imperfections. That sounds perfect. Okay, so I didn't film spray painting the legs. I was in a hurry and it was cold out. If you can't tell, the garage has gotten a little more crowded. I went to the storage unit and picked up some tools, which I have yet to put away. So we're going to have to work around that. But for now, I'm going to give these a quick sand and another coat of polyurethane. So when I'm sanding, I'm really concentrating in on the high spots where maybe the polyurethane didn't settle evenly, or if I was a little heavy-handed with a brush and left a little pool. I'm going to try to sand those down now so that the next coat can go on more evenly. Having a light like this to look across really helps see those high spots as well. Taking a look across this with the light on the opposite side, you can see the high spots that I was talking about. So this is a little bit of a ridge here where maybe one paint brush stroke went along, pushed some polyurethane out to the side and it dried like that. We're going to sand that down so that the next coat can hopefully go on more evenly. A quick word about random orbit sanders. So this is a really cheap one, but they all work pretty much the same way. There's a motor up here that turns a drive shaft, and then a slightly off-center drive that causes a wobble, so this bottom piece moves sort of in a small little circles. Now this is great for sanding things. However, one thing to be careful of is if you can see here, let's see if I can focus in on it. If you press down too hard, or if you have sandpaper that has a particular little high spot or a piece of dirt in it, you can leave these trails. And they're sort of telltale trails that this one's just in the dust. I was trying to make a good one for us. But you'll leave them in the surface, and they can actually show through if they're deep enough. And that's not something that's particularly attractive because it kind of just follows the path of where if you're moving this around in an arc, it just draws little circles all the way. So to get around that, just make sure you're moving your sander around and checking for that and sanding with a reasonable pressure. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wipe down the surface now and get this dust off. I'm using a microfiber cloth for this. As long as you get all the dust off, it should be good, but the ideal cloth to use is called a tack cloth, which has just a sticky substance on it. A little bit of varnish and some water, I think. All right, that just gets the majority of the dust off. Since we're in the garage, I'm going to let the dust in here settle a little bit. Give it a quick wipe with a clean cloth before I apply a new coat of polyurethane. All right, so I'm just going to give these a wipe down since they've been sitting for a second. I can see a little bit of dust collected on them, not much. I'm not using real high quality brushes because polyurethane kind of ruins them. So some of the bristles are loose here. So I'm just going to do this. Get rid of any loose hairs so they don't fall off while I'm working. All right, let's put another coat on. Again, working with the light coming across the surface really helps to make sure you're getting the finish on evenly and not missing spots, which is surprisingly easy to do and very disappointing if you don't catch it until it's dry. So now that I have the top of this finished, I'm going to work on putting the legs on. I've already done this for the other ones. I'm sorry I didn't bring you along for the process, but I needed to get them out. One was a gift for my sister, and the other was a gift for my friend that I already brought over to their place. But the process is basically still the same, at least how I was doing it. And we're going to start by flipping it over. I'm going to go ahead and put down a cloth here so I don't scratch the top that we worked so hard to finish. So I want these legs to be equidistant from the end here. So I'm going to measure in, put them about 6 inches in it. What I'm thinking here with these is that I'm going to screw these down and bolt them to the table. And then when they're down there, weld the... So we'll line these up here. And then once those are bolted, I'll weld these on. Slide these in here and weld them on. But first, I want to address these ends because they're painted. And I want to take a little bit of that paint off. Now, once I get it all welded on here, I'm going to tape it off and give it another little coat of paint just to cover up any of the little imperfections and some of the grinding and welding marks that we've left on there, just to give it a little nicer finish. The other thing I want to do is center this. So we know this bowling alley is 28 inches long, and these bars are 20 inches long. So that means we have 4 inches on either side. So I just went and prepped the ends of these for welding, so we're not having all that paint and gunk get into the weld. Not the cleanest job, but it'll do. So I couldn't quite make up my mind on how I wanted to attach these to here. Originally I was going to do bolts, like lag bolt kind of things, but I couldn't convincingly cut a hole big enough here and a hole down there to stick a bolt through because, well, I didn't have a bit big enough, and bits big enough are expensive, and I don't have the money for that right now. So I think what I'm going to do is drill smaller holes and screw it in with multiple screws. And we'll see how that works. So just bringing along in the process here, I'm going to use these screws to screw this bar down to this wood. Now, annoyingly, that means I have to drill 3 different size holes. First, I'm going to use a drill bit that's big enough for the screw part of the screw to go through. So I want the screw to go into the wood, through the metal, but it's crucially smaller than the head of the screw, so it holds the metal down. Second, I'm going to use a smaller bit that is smaller than the size of the screw to drill a pilot hole into the wood so that I can screw the screw in. Third size bit is going to be a larger bit, 3/8. I'm going to drill a hole into the top of this. And that's going to allow me to get a screwdriver in there and secure the top of the screw. So, what can you do? So I'm going to finish this off by just welding these on and into place. Actually, I'm going to tip this up real quick to get some of the metal shavings out of here, because otherwise it's just going to be like the most depressing salt shaker ever, shaking these metal filings out forever. When I first start this up, I like to give it a few little taps to sort of purge the line of air and get the gas into it. Of course, I don't have my wire cutters with me, side cutters. So let's take a look at what we have here as a final product. I'm pretty happy with it. Got our legs welded on, and I'd like to get another coat of paint on those things before it goes actually into my living room or office, but I think it turned out quite nicely. Has that rustic feel, yet is still pretty smooth and well finished, as you can see. Mixed feelings about the really heavy polyurethane on there. I was kind of hoping to do something a little less heavy-handed, but with all the imperfections and the way the wood was, I think it really turned out nicely and helped hide some of those inconsistencies. So I know that wasn't the most informational video, and there were some parts I didn't get a chance to film because of the holidays and getting busy, but I'm glad I got to take you along at least a little bit on the journey as I turned a piece of old bowling alley into furniture that I'm pretty happy with. And maybe it gave you a sense of what it takes to take a piece of wood that is reclaimed and looks like you could just maybe saw it in half and throw it in your living room and turn it into functional furniture. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next time on the After Work Garage.